It's a Minimalist Monday edition of Optimal Living Daily, episode 178. Walk a Mile in My Blisters by Joshua Fields Millburn of Minimalists.com. And I'm Justin Malik. This is the podcast where I read to you from some of the best blogs on happiness, personal development, minimalism, and more. And today, like yesterday, I'm not reading in my usual space, so please bear with me if there are any issues with sound, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm recording this on Sunday, and today would have been the 5-year anniversary since I got my cat, actually. So it's another rough day for me, and will be for a while, really. By the way, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that means you didn't hear yesterday's episode. That's where I explain everything and why my mood isn't exactly where it usually is. I almost didn't release that episode, but I asked my good friend and business partner, Lee, what I should do, and he said to put it out there since it's real, so thanks to Lee for that advice, because I think it's helping me deal with it all. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about this all week, but I thought it was crazy that I was just one day away from hitting the 5-year mark with my cat. And I just wanted to sincerely thank you for the kind words that were sent in via email, Twitter, on the website, oldpodcast.com, and even Facebook, even though the Optimal Living Daily Facebook page has virtually no content on it. It was crazy. I hadn't even gone to bed last night. The episode had just gone live, and someone liked the Optimal Living Daily Facebook page and then sent a message from the UK saying that she heard the episode, and she sent some kind words, and that was just, only like a few minutes or an hour or so after the episode went live. And it just shows how nice you all are. I really appreciate that, especially because before I had this podcast, I had a different blog. It was about app development. Because I used to make iPhone apps, and I'd provide a lot of free information and numbers and stats on the blog. Yet almost all the emails I received were critical or asking for something or saying that something doesn't work even though it did. And, moving on to this new project has been a complete 180. And I'm just so thankful for you listening every day and supporting the podcast and just being a nice, decent human being and showing sympathy. And on the note of sympathy, I found a post from Joshua Fields Millburn. It's talking about sympathy and empathy. And it's actually a post that's also in the Minimalist book, Essential. I had previously recorded myself reading the entire book, and Joshua and Ryan of the Minimalists have been kind enough to let me share any and all of that entire book with you in audio form right here on the podcast, which just shows how amazing they are. And it'll be a lot easier for me to play that instead of recording some more stuff. So I'll probably do that today and another section of the book tomorrow instead of reading something. I really could use the break. But it shouldn't be any different for you. It'll probably sound about the same, just probably a little shorter than normal. So let's get on with the content and start optimizing your life. Walk a Mile in My Blisters by Joshua Fields Millburn. I'm seated on the warm side of floor-to-ceiling windows in a half-empty cafe, a black coffee on the table in front of me. A thick sheet of ice coats the sidewalk outside. Winter clouds hang over everything, the sky the color of a wet hippopotamus. Graceless, a song by The National, is playing through the establishment's overhead speakers. Outside, an attractive woman in a pea coat is traversing the icy walkway tentatively, planting each step with great care before planting the next, her arms outstretched and palms flat, as though she's praying for less gravity. Her prayer goes unanswered, though, and with one misplaced step, she slips backward. Her arms slice the air violently, reaching for something that isn't there, until her backside connects with the concrete. Thwop. I wince, not because I feel her pain, literally, but because I feel her pain, figuratively. As the woman's rear greeted the pavement, a twinge reverberated throughout my body. I too have fallen, so I know what it feels like, or rather, I know what it feels like to me. This is a key difference. Whenever we pejoratively tell someone to walk in our shoes, we're simply asking another person to put herself in our position for a moment, to be sympathetic of our circumstance. When we do this, though, when we walk a mile in someone else's shoes, we're still approaching the situation from our own biased perspectives, which still may not allow us to empathize with a person who's loaning her sneakers. Sympathy and empathy are not the same thing. Sympathy understands someone's pain, empathy feels it. We can never be truly empathetic. We can't completely feel what another person feels, but that doesn't mean we can't try. When we care about another human, we must do our best to approximate their pain, first by understanding, and then by attempting to feel the same thing they feel. Sympathy is our first step toward empathy. We must wear another person's shoes before we can experience the blisters from their daily trek. By sliding into your moccasins, I can better understand what it feels like for me to walk in your shoes, even though I'll never wholly understand what it's like for you. I might not feel the weight of your journey, not totally at least, but I'll certainly be closer when I'm donning your footwear. Sympathetic of what the woman is feeling on the sidewalk outside, I dash out the door to assist. I don't, however, notice a small patch of black ice just beyond the doorway, and thwop, I suffer a similar fate. Both on our asses now, I may not feel the woman's pain, but I feel something close to it. After staring upward, as if the sky is to blame, we share a smile before the woman hops up and helps me off the ground. And that was Walk a Mile in My Blisters by Joshua Fields Millburn of the Minimalists.com. And that reading is actually one of the essays from the Minimalist book, Essential, which is a great one. You can find all their books at the Minimalists.com. And again, thank you to Joshua and Ryan for letting me use all the content from that book right here on the podcast. So that's awesome. I'm hoping to be back to my usual routine and recording location on Wednesday. Tomorrow will likely be a lot like this episode. But after that, I'm sure things will go back to normal. Again, thank you so much for your sympathy and condolences, and just for continuing to listen to this show while I get my mood back up. You are seriously the only reason I'm still doing this, so have a great start to your week, and thank you again. I'll see you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.